Hello everyone and welcome back to Classic Comics. So today I'm reviewing the first issue of The Futurists. This is one of the books being published by Allegiance Arts and sold through Wal Mart. Now, Allegiance Arts is the publishing house created by Mitch and Elizabeth Breitweiser. The Breitweisers were prominent in Comicsgate a couple of years back, but they've been pretty quiet since then. They don't seem to spend a lot of time on Twitter arguing with, SJWs the way, Ethan Van Sciver and John Malin do. I think that the Breitweisers pulling off this coup of getting their comics into Walmart is just a great move. This is what comics needs to do, I think, in order to survive. Comic creators need to start getting their products into the hands of more people and stop relying on just the comic shops, because there just aren't enough comic shops. Now, I should mention that I backed the Breitweiser's Indiegogo project, Red Rooster. And I was not happy when I found out that one of the comics they're selling through this Walmart deal is Red Rooster. I backed the project in August of 2018, so almost 2 years ago. And I'm still waiting for my copy. In the meantime, the Breitweisers have created Allegiance Arts and are now publishing 4 comic books, including Red Rooster. To be fair, the first issue of Red Rooster is, I think, just the first 24 pages of the graphic novel, that the Indiegogo project was backing. And the Breitweisers have released a digital version of the first issue to their backers. But I didn't pay for a digital file of the first third of the comic. I paid for a physical copy of the whole thing, and I'm still waiting, and I'm not happy about it. Now, I don't think the Breitweisers were trying to rip people off or anything, but I've been just disappointed by the whole thing. And while I hope that they succeed with this Walmart deal, I probably won't be backing any of their projects anytime soon. So, now about this comic. Is it any good, and what is it about? That is a good question, because I'm not really sure. Now, this is written by Patrick Stiles, with art by Butch Guice. And the art is really good. Butch Guice is an old pro, and this really is some of his best work, I think. The story is interesting, but it's... well, I'll just show you. So the story starts off in India in 1866. And we have some British officers and their ladies visiting some kind of a mystic to perform a seance. And so one of the officers, he gets possessed. And he's giving some kind of warning. And then this mysterious figure in a hood and cloak pops up out of nowhere. And then the figure in the cloak reveals himself to the mystic, and he's like this kid. He's a young boy or young man. But it turns out that the young man is actually someone the mystic knows. And he was someone who was old like the mystic was, but somehow he has regained his youth. He's become young again. And the mystic wants to know his secret. Now, how did you do this? But the young man says that he's actually cursed and he needs to speak to an oracle. And the oracle is apparently some spirit that resides, this is like her skull, I guess. And he needs to commune with her in order to figure out how to fix this curse. And so they strike a deal. The mystic will help the young man commune with the oracle to help him find a remedy for his curse. And then he will show the mystic how to become young again. Then we jump back in time 8 years, and there's this kind of archaeological dig that's being carried out by members of the British Army. And they're, excavating this temple or whatever it is, and it's all being run by this this officer, this British officer here. And then they find this giant sarcophagus. And the officer's talking about how the sarcophagus contains power and secrets, that sort of stuff. And now that they have what he's after, he decides, they don't need the workers anymore, who are all like local natives. So he orders his men to start executing all the workers. So they start just slaughtering them. Now, then there's this unit, of soldiers, and I think they're Scottish. I mean, they're all wearing kilts, so I assume that means they're Scottish. And they're not, they aren't on board with this. They're horrified. So their officer, I think his name is Gunn, he throws a keg of gunpowder at the sarcophagus and threatens to blow it up. It explodes, and then the sarcophagus gets blown open, and it releases this demon. And then the demon starts killing people. And then the Scottish officer, he tries to fight it. And while he's doing that, another keg of gunpowder gets kicked over. And it explodes, and boom, everything goes up in flames. Then we just jump again, and I guess this is a little while after, like maybe the next day, maybe the next morning. And all the people who were involved in this, they're now here in this place convalescing from their wounds. And then the officer decides to get revenge on Gunn by having him killed. He wants this soldier here to do it, but Gunn overpowers the soldier, kills him. And then he's about to kill the officer when his wife shows up. And then it ends. And I'm just kind of like, what? What is going on? This story is, it's more than a little confusing. So I have no idea what it's about. I assume that the mystic and the young men have some connection to this earlier events with the demon, but I have no idea what it is. And I have no real idea why this officer was trying to get this demon or whatever it is. I mean, I don't know. I mean, nothing is explained. Now, I assume that this was probably going to be an Indiegogo project. And then they saw an opportunity with the whole Wal Mart deal and turned it into a series, kind of like with Red Rooster. So I assume there's more to the story that reveals what's going on here. But in this issue alone, I'm baffled. I have no idea. And, there's an old saying, you need to treat every comic like it is somebody's first comic. So you need to kind of set things up for them and help them understand what's going on. So if they understand more, they'll be more likely to get invested in it. If they don't know what's going on, then they're probably just going to kind of scratch their head and be like, okay, well, whatever. And I would say, the art by Butch Guice is excellent. I mean, just look at these backgrounds. I mean, it's fantastic. This is great. And then there's this shot here. That looks gorgeous. It's really some excellent work, some of his best work. And, he's been at this for a long time. I remember the first time I remember seeing Guice's work, I think was on the Micronauts back in the mid-'80s when I was a kid. And these days, he's probably best known for his work with Ed Brubaker on Captain America. That was the run where they brought back Bucky as the Winter Soldier, and his work is excellent here. The presentation, is good. The cover is good. The print material is good. But I just don't see how this book is going to succeed for a couple of reasons. Because again, as I say, it's confusing. But even setting that aside, it's the setting and the material it's covering. The story is set in the late 1800s. Now, personally, I like that. I like period stories. And I think the late 1800s is generally a period which doesn't get a lot of attention in popular culture, except for in America. The late 1800s in America, we had the Old West. But you don't really see much of what else was happening in the world in the 1800s in American entertainment. So I was ready to like this, but it's just confusing. And, I don't mean to be dismissive or disrespectful, but I'm not sure this is a story that's really going to appeal to the crowd at Wal Mart. The setting is very niche. It seems like it's something that might work as an Indiegogo campaign, but I'm not sure this is going to sell to just a general mainstream audience. At $5 an issue, too. I mean, that's too. I mean, it's $5. And I should point out, by the way, at my local Walmart, these comics, these Allegiance Arts comics, they are not selling at all. These came out 2 months ago, I think. And from what I saw, I mean, there's still plenty of copies sitting there. They're not selling. No one's buying them. If you're going to sell to a general audience, you need to appeal to the widest audience possible. And the appeal of this story is just way too narrow to me. The dominant genre in comics has always been superheroes, except for a period from 1945 to 1955 when they fell out of favor and humor comics and westerns and like sci-fi stuff became popular. But then in 1955, DC introduced Barry Allen, the Silver Age Flash, and ever since then, it's been superheroes. So, that's what the whole medium has really been built around. So, if you want to appeal to new readers, to young readers, I would think, then they're probably going to be expecting something like The Avengers or the other Marvel movies. Fun superhero adventures, that sort of thing. So, thumbs up on the art, but thumbs down on the story. I really think they need to reconsider who they're appealing to with their comics. Anyway, that's my opinion. So, have you read these comics? Do you agree or disagree with my views on the Futurists or on the approach Allegiance Arts is taking with their choice of stories? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video or found it informative, please do hit the like button before you go. And also please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications. And I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching.